Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. We are entering into the very final part of the tournament. We're down to just the third, fourth place match, which we're starting here today, and then into that finals. Of course, the finals has Beast versus YSC. You know, both of them playing very beastly to get there. And then, of course, we have our other Protoss player here in Motive. Just had a great series against Beast, although he did end up getting swept. And he's going up against Soso, who's been our last Terran for the longest time. The only Terran to make it through that round of 16 into the round of 8, and so on and so forth. So who will end up taking this? I think that this is going to be an awesome match. Like, you know, we saw the YSC versus Soso series, and that really felt pretty close. I mean, I guess YSC ended up taking it, like, relatively handedly, but there was a lot of close games in there, right? And I think that that's... The thing is, when you see these close games from Terran, it's like, oh, they're actually really right on the brink, right? Where it's like one or two different decisions, and they're going to be able to win that. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good match. Excited to see Motive play some more Protoss versus Terran. We've seen him a lot on ArtosisCasts, you know, being one of the better up-and-coming Protoss players. Not quite an ASL player yet, but getting really close. And then, of course, Soso. You know, he has been in ASL in the past and is a very strong Terran. I do like his style overall. I did feel like we saw some, maybe more errors than I want to see from him against YSC. So hopefully he can kind of clean that up a little bit, right? There's a little bit of space in between his top 4 match and the third, fourth place match. So I think, you know, he can take some of the lessons he learned against YSC and apply them here to his play, have a better series against Motive. Well, either way, we are on Retro and just kind of waiting to see what openers these guys want to go for. Want to say thank you guys for supporting ArtosisCasts. If you would like to support on Patreon, it's patreon.com/Artosis. A big thanks to everyone who has supported there. You know, I fund some matches myself. You know, we're a small sponsor for this season of CNSL, and that's really thanks to you guys on the Patreon. Big thanks to everyone there. And yeah, once again, you can check that out. It's in the description below. And if you're just here watching, thank you. Please subscribe. All right, so first scout here by Soso, so that's always nice. You're going to be able to see if a Zealot pops out or not, and that's what he's going to be looking for here. And there's the Zealot. So as soon as you see that Zealot, you have some choices to make. Are you going to go 3 depot or 2 depot? Are you going to go 2 Marine bunker or 3 Marine or 4 Marine? Are you going to make that Vulture or not? You have a lot of intel. And it looks like he might be going for the bunker. So if you go bunker, generally what you're going to see is just 2 Marines. And he probably will still go for the Vulture. That's like a pretty common thing. And yeah, it's just like, these are like little bits of optimization. Oh, this is interesting. So he actually is making, okay. See, I said it was interesting because he started the 3rd Marine, but then he cancels. That might have been just in case he mistimed it. He might not be feeling super confident in that timing. It was a pretty quick Zealot. So if the Zealot gets there right before the bunker's done, it easily runs by and you want the 3rd Marine. But in this case, see, he stops on the 2. Gets the Vulture, gonna go ahead and expand. So definitely a good way to do it. You can really shut down any sort of pressure from Protoss at that point. Motive over here, not getting range, but instead going directly into a Nexus, a forward pylon there as well, with the Zealot running home. And we have the hidden SCV to maybe do some scouting later on. Hey, you could always do something crazy like proxy a starport as well. All right, so the Vulture is out on the map. And honestly, this is like all pretty standard so far. You know, there's a ton of options on both sides with how you want to follow up. For YSC, I'm still kind of remembering that match. It was an epic one. But for Motive, you could add a second gateway, or you could go Robo here. Anything else would be very, very weird. Obviously, you would never go Starport, and a Citadel is like just a total risk that you probably don't want to do. And he will go for that Robo. So whether that's going to be Observer or Reaver has yet to be seen. Single Dragoon out here, kind of like just watching for anything to come out. And he will start to retreat. The reason he's retreating right now, you know, as a Protoss player, about when mines finish. And if there's a Dragoon in front of the bunker, you almost always try for a trap. In fact, look, he's coming out. He's checking what's there. The Singing Vulture coming down as well. But he's going to go ahead and avoid that trap. I think that that's a mark of a better Protoss player. If a Vulture is out in the map, you do not want to leave your Dragoon out there to get sniped by mines. It's just, it makes the Terran feel a lot more comfortable to kill even one Dragoon or even damage it, right? Then any sort of move outs have a lot more potential since the Dragoon is at full health. Not that that will generally end the game, but certainly can give Terran a little edge to work with. Okay, taking a look at what's going on, we have one Dragoon trying to guard up here, and the SCV going to come down to help. Only gets one hit off on that mine. He should be able to actually defuse that pretty easily. The SCV coming down. That was to kind of tank hits to make sure the Vulture got out. With perfect micro there, maybe Motive can get the Vulture or at least get it down to like 5 health. But yeah, he holds onto that area. He did trigger that mine and didn't get hit by it, so very nicely done by him. And it is going to be 2-gate Observer. This is very, very common right now. A lot of players are going 2-gate Observer into third base and then Reaver a little bit later. It actually, yeah, it's like, it's funny to watch the way that builds change over time, over the course of a year. For instance, like, we started off with Quick Reaver, like, maybe about a year ago, right? Quick Reaver was still very popular. And then we went into Observer into Reaver. And then the pros decided, oh, that's not very good. And then it went back into Quick Reaver. And then it kind of went into 2-gate Observer third base into Reaver. And that's kind of where we're at right now, right? Where it's like, okay, well, if you're not going to go Quick Reaver, you may as well get the economic bonus, have still the strong defensive capabilities of Observer Dragoon, and then if you want to go Reaver, you go into it there. And you can see that's actually, that does look like what Motive is doing here as he starts at Shuttle after this third Nexus. But yeah, this is one of the things that a lot of people ask me that don't like keep up all the way. Maybe they watch like a little bit of ASL, a few casts here and there. It's like, do strats still change? How do they still change? And the answer is actually strategies, the metagame of StarCraft 1 changes quicker than it did in the Kespa era at this point, I would say. Like, it's just all the best players are streaming all the time. There's a very active ladder, and people are just continually figuring out new things. There's just, the skill ceiling is so unbelievably high. You know, it lends itself to people changing strategies to get edges, because it's, you know, it's like, well, yeah, we've worked on the mechanics, but like, how can I get a small edge so my mechanics can really punish, right? And things like this, where it's like, that is a very fast third, but also, like, can Terran do very much against you right now? Right? And the answer, really, you look at this? Not really, right? This is an upgrade Terran build. He's not going to find any sort of damage. Like, he is getting Vulture speed. Look, he does have some good mines around the map. A Vulture over there, a couple over here. And, of course, those are looking to do things like deny this scouting probe. In fact, he saw it go over the mine. That's why that mine is there, is to watch a probe pathing up to the top left. So anyways, looks like we have that shuttle speed on the way here. Little bit of pressure by these Dragoons, keeping some of those Vultures in. The Vulture speed is almost done, so he's trying to get like a couple more Vultures out onto the map. Shuttle speed, not quite done yet. He will pick up this first Reaver and get that ready, though. Do we have a turret under here? Yeah, there it is. Very common play, even from the old days, to sit a missile turret under the barracks so you don't actually know if it's there. It's always there, by the way, in case you guys wondered. Eventually, like, we'll have someone that doesn't put it there. And it'll be like this wild mind game. But generally, Protoss has already decided whether they're flying over something like that before they go in. With speed shuttles, oftentimes, the answer will be yes. Now, this probe comes out, once again, from the third base location. And these Vultures may try to deny that once again. He does have a Vulture up here. The Observer going forward to help the Dragoons lead the way, cut through mines, and make sure a Vulture will not attack this probe. These 3 Vultures don't come up to help as of yet, and it looks like he might just take the natural. Just getting a Nexus up is very important right now. You don't want to wait too long to start that 4th base against Upgrade Terran. Ooh, just gets it before the Vultures snap it. So a very quick Nexus there, and that's exactly what he wants. By the way, taking a look over here, ooh, Cloak plus Wraith. I love to see it. A single dropship coming over here as well. Let's see what type of damage can be dealt. This is a great area. Very hard for Dragoons to get to. He drops out 2 Vultures. He's going to lay some mines here, but this is a perfect little pocket for that Siege Tank. Really hard to get to for anything. And he targets the probes as best he can. He maybe went a little bit too close, but you know what? This was still a good drop. The mines did end up hitting a little bit, and he got 6 probe kills. So at the end of the day, I would still say that was a reasonable drop. He's going to lose his dropship, which is a little bit sloppy. You kind of want to shift click that out immediately. Oh, I guess he didn't lose it, so never mind. But still, Yeah, pretty decent, pretty decent. Now, looking over at the base of Soso, he starts his third command center in front of his natural around 10 minutes. He's got the 5 facts producing really steadily right now, and he's got to keep that macro up. You can see Motive really getting ahead as far as that supply goes. He's at 70 workers and 144 supply against just 110. Reaver's being dropped out here to the side. Oh, God. Don't want to lose it. Well, you know what? He loses a tank but gets a Reaver. You're fine with that as Soso. Now, where does Soso want to expand? Is he thinking about taking this base, or does he want to expand in this direction? That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one, because this one is, like, obviously a lot easier for Protoss to attack, and not easy for you to attack through that lane against Protoss. I honestly am unsure. I feel like if you were going to expand up here, you might have started the command center here, but sometimes you just start it where you start it. You're doing a lot of things, and you just want to get it going. Motive has a nice, fully mining 4th base location, adding some photon cannons in there, so Vulture Harassment not going to be all that good. This Vulture going to catch that probe coming up for the 5th base. Of course, as you see that 3rd base, you do want to go for the 5th. And he uses his Cloaked Wraiths, by the way, to kill off that shuttle and then get the Reaver as well. He didn't actually need Cloak for that, but this is actually a very trending move right now. Cloaked Wraiths kind of started because of how good Snow is with his shuttles. And then the first person I saw do it was Light, to literally just to make sure he can get rid of the shuttle that's blocking his 3rd base from Snow, because Snow's that good. But really, people realize after seeing that, they're like, oh, I mean, it seems like it costs a lot, but it's pretty darn good. Like, if you go for Cloaked Wraiths, you're going to be able to secure your 3rd really quickly. And there hasn't been significant Protoss counterplay to that yet. Generally, you stop after 2 to 3 Wraiths. Normally, it's 3. Here we see 2. That's fine. But yeah, generally you stop Wraiths as your anti-air after that. You might utilize them for a little bit, but Goliaths are what you'll switch into eventually. Now that shuttle comes up, but he had sent the Wraiths off to kill an Observer. He is going to secure this base. More Zealot Bombs coming in. Very, very annoying. But as the Wraiths come in, of course, you do have to pull that back. Trigoon's coming up and just poking a little bit. Motive on both sides right now. He's trying to make the Terran player feel a little bit boxed in, like he can't do much. See, the thing is, you're going to set up a reasonable defense here. You can see the wall already set up. And then you're going to use this part of the map. Like, this is going to be the next area that we see Soso take. And from there, it's like, okay, do we expand here, or do we push to center and expand here? This can be a 4th base location, and it helps cut the map in half a little bit. It's not fully cut at that point, but that can be a strong play if you centralize everything here. But don't forget, you could see Protoss do a shove up this ramp. So that's why I was talking about this being kind of a more difficult location to expand to in some ways. Now, Motive's sending over a gigantic army. He is maxed out, but he's got 81 workers. That is a very, very, very high worker count. He's really sucking the resources right off of this map right now. More gateways being added. He's going to want to get a lot of gates in the top left as well. That's going to be a very powerful move. And you can see he's starting to send some units over to these other bases. This is one thing about Retro. It doesn't have a lot of bases. So if you can actually secure a little bit more as Protoss, you're going to be feeling pretty good. Whereas if you get stuck on just these 5 bases on your side of the map, see the first 3, and then top left 2 bases, that's 2 more. If you get just those bases and no more, it actually becomes very difficult as Protoss. You're going to run out of money relatively quickly. Okay, so right now, we have... What is this? Is there music starting here? I don't even know what that was. I think maybe some YouTube window started playing randomly. Anyways, we have this run-in from Motive, and he gets some storms down there. Pretty reasonable size storms. Yeah, he's going to be able to get on top of a lot of these siege tanks. And he will bust that up somewhat. I would say that was pretty good overall. Not fantastic, but reducing the siege tank count is strong. Slowing him from getting into that 4th base location is strong, especially when you're on 81 workers. Like, you're refilling your economy very, very quickly, and you want to make sure that you are eliminating units from your opponent, because if you both max out and your opponent is on like 15 less probes than you, which would be pretty common, he is going to have higher army supply and, in general, a more efficient army. Obviously, Psystorm can change that, But yeah, the mech army spread correctly is more efficient than everything Protoss has except for carriers. So yeah, it's a good trade, I think, overall, but it's not something that's like, wow, he's way ahead after that, right? Like, Soso is still completely fine. Right now, this is probably the most impactful thing happening in this game. While Soso moves up and prepares, yeah, he's making that command center flow up. He's preparing to take his 4th base. Motive is taking top right. And this is so powerful. The cannons on top of the ramp and everything, you're just trying to slow your opponent down from being able to push up. This is just very annoying. It's not the best location. I think here would be better. But it's still okay. He gets some vultures up, and this will be highly annoying. You're definitely going to see Motive want to move over there with something to clear that. But instead, it looks like he's going to counterattack. I don't know that this is the greatest counterattack. Let's see if it works out. It looks like this shuttle will bomb some Zealots over here. Some good mines eliminating a High Templar as it comes out. And some very good defense matrices there as well, tanking a lot of damage from those Zealots. We're almost out of Zealots at this point, which means the Siege Tanks will begin to clean up a little bit, especially those high ground ones. And you can see, yeah, that counterattack not working as well. Now, in theory, sometimes this is what you want to do. Counterattack when your opponent rotates vultures around the map. But it's generally for bigger numbers. Like here, this was 3 vultures, right? So it's 6 supply. It doesn't actually, you can't really tell the difference almost ever if 3 vultures are missing. That's why a lot of Pro Terrans will only rotate like 3, 4 vultures, right? They'll be like, okay, this is just enough to be annoying, but not enough that I die to a counterattack. Whereas you see at lower levels, you might have 12 vultures run up here and get the kill. But if you're missing 12 vultures there, you die, right? So it's a huge difference. And, you know, Motive made the very quick decision. Oftentimes being decisive is better than being right. But that one didn't seem to work out. Definitely seemed better for Soso. Now, another run in here. We don't actually have a lot of vultures here ready. A few are up here. They were laying mines. Others are coming out of the rally point. It looks like he might have a faulty rally here. 3 tanks just kind of sitting waiting. But he still has enough to hold this. And, yeah, so that kind of shows you. That was 2 attacks in a row that didn't go as planned. Even that second one, like, if it had, in the same type of situation where a bunch of his units are out of position, that first attack would have done better. But because the first attack did poorly, this second attack also kind of did poorly, even though Soso wasn't as ready for it. Things add up together in StarCraft pretty darn quickly. So the 4th base is up. We're at 70 workers against 82. Let's take a look at what our Protoss player has. This Nexus is still alive, making some very annoying units like Dark Templar as well as High Templar to defend that base, getting cannons up on this base to expand. These 2 bases are the key to victory. Okay, so what do you do here as Soso? Well, right now he's moving all of his units up onto this high ground. There's a possibility he tries to push through here. Personally, for me, I look at this and I'm not a big fan of that idea. I think defending here is good and pushing to here is good. Because if you use these mineral patches, if we zoom out a little bit, if you can hold this area, you can easily rotate your units in either direction for an attack. As is, it looks like Motive actually wants to push up into the 4th base. Not sure that this is a great location. That mine, absolute insanity. Some good Psy Storms go down. He needs more good Psy Storms, though. There's one. That's a good one. Another decent one, but a defense matrix is going to counter that for the most part. Another decent one, but yeah, pushing up a tiny ramp like this, not so strong. More and more units just flooding out. Looks like we may have had a glut back here. That's like several rounds of units. But yeah, I would love to see Soso just kind of block this up and then go to the center. And in fact, he is starting to go to the center. Controlling the center area in Retro is incredibly powerful in Terran vs. Protoss. Right now, Motive going back with the Speed Shuttle. He is bringing multiple groups out of these bases. A lot of Dragoons and some High Templars coming to the center. But where's the rest of his army? He needs flanking Zealots if he's going to take this down, I think. He comes in. He does have some good Psy Storms. Throws that one down. Not the best Psy Storm, but he might actually just have too many units here for Soso. Soso getting surrounded. Maybe pushing out slightly too quickly here instead of just taking a chunk, resecuring it, rallying up, and then deciding where to push. I think that was a little bit too haphazard, the way that he pushed it. Now, that being said, he's preparing another command center. I honestly think this is for here. not for up here. This is like a very hard place to push right now. Brings a dropship with a siege tank and 2 vultures up. There's enough units here that I don't think this will work, but you know what? With those mines already there, actually, that adds a lot of cover, so maybe. We'll see. Motive, in the meantime, pushing everything back in. He wants to make sure he's keeping Soso down on 4 bases. I don't think that there's any real way to break those bases, so just trading as efficiently as possible for a while is probably going to be the best way. In the meantime, this tank, oh my god, it's going after that command center, or that Nexus, rather. It looks like that Nexus is going to fall with 1 more siege tank hit. And in fact, it does go down during this battle. And honestly, this battle not going that well either. I feel like, yeah, Motive is still maxed. He's still got this great economy. But we've seen like 4 failed attacks into this general area, right? Once Terran has this really sieged up nicely, like, by the way, turrets only can be built up to about this line. Okay, so like holding here is not realistic. Holding here, very realistic. The turrets, they add so much to it. It would be impossible to understate how much turrets add to a Terran push. That's why there's so much unbuildable terrain on maps, right? That's a big part of it. It's like all these Terran buildings that you can put there. That's supposed to be one of the Terran strengths, and let me tell you, it is, being able to build anywhere. So right now, he is starting to push beyond that line. He has a few Goliaths in there to make sure that flying units just can't come in and destroy him. Looks like Arbiter Tech is on the way for our Protoss player, so we might get some recalls and some stasis coming up as well. But Soso doing a better job. He's leapfrogging this time. Notice how he's trying to keep units apart, like more than one Psy Storm apart, taking as little damage as he possibly can from those spells. You know, he's got a very good economy still, but natural is empty, main is empty. Third base is getting very low, and really, I've talked about this 1,000 times. This is a very healthy base. Once you get to 3-2 mech, and in this case, it is 3-3. I say 3-2 because a lot of Terran players just stop at 3-2. They just kind of forget and are doing other things, and it doesn't make as much difference the third armor upgrade. But anyways, once they get there, they need 2 mining bases, and we're very soon going to be on 1. Now, he actually is floating the command center in the north, so that's not at all what I thought we would see. I really thought we would see him try to take the center. That's kind of trendy. But he is pushing to the north. So this is going to be a very strong push to the north. But the way that he's doing it, there's a lot of surface area here for Motive to utilize, okay? He's pretty far back from the mineral patches. So the mineral patches, like, they screw up pathing a little bit as you tack in. But, like, you're going to have... Oh, here, we got to zoom way out. This much area that Protoss has options to attack into. And not just that, you have to clear this for your command center and clear this. Otherwise, he's going to send units down to harass you. Oh my god. And it looks like we actually did have a break over here while I was explaining those other things going on. Looks like he just broke up against just the few siege tanks that were there. Killed a depot. Now storming as well. He's going to have to run out of here. Looking at how much is left in the patches, I think this is one you just let go. You float the command center where you say, okay, that's it. That base is gone. We're going to consider that mined out for now. Like, who knows, maybe in a crazy game you retake that later. But you can't commit a lot of forces to try to save the, you know, it's not that many minerals. It's like maybe 1,000 minerals left. So the command center, unfortunately, might get picked off here between the Archon and Dragoon damage. In the meantime, he is killing a base of Motives. So, like, this base of Motives is worth a little bit more than this. But when you look at these two together, they're worth like 1,000,000 times more than this. So if he can kill that, secure that base, if he kills top right and holds it, he'll win the game. Simple as that. Now, another spread here as Motive attacks in. Motive's bank is insanely large right now, almost 6k, 2k. Nice stasis goes down, getting in on top of some of these siege tanks as well. This base has been taken, but look, again, look at this high ground. The amount of Psy Storms. This is incredibly hard to break and very good at harassing that base. So there are some issues here about the new base for Soso. There are certainly some issues. All right, looks like that Arbiter in here does not get targeted. It was kind of low on health. It feels like it could have been picked off. We will just back up for now. These High Templars not casting their spells. There you go. Psy Storm finally does go down. A lot of SCVs coming into mine. I think we even had a flanking Psy Storm there maybe during that. Kind of cool to see. And, you know, both sides here, like, They have kind of similar supply right now, but when you look at that bank, you know that Motive can do these attacks several more times. He's got so much of the map in his back pocket right now. I like this setup, though. Utilizing this science vessel for a little bit of vision, even utilizing some scans there to see what's up. Of course, he could defense matrix very quickly if anything's getting stormed, like his siege tanks. That can be a good counter against some of these storms. See, like right there? Well, he just walks out of that one, but loses the vessel without a spell cast, unfortunately. Continues the push, though. Now, another counter push here from Motive. He's going to go right into this area that's been very highly defended throughout the game, but not a lot left right now. Siege tanks rolling down from this 4th base location, but maybe that was a mistake. They're going to go ahead, siege up on that ramp. No more High Templars, so the storms are not going to be able to destroy them here. And this, I believe all 3 of these count as on high ground. So that's going to be hard to attack into. But he has broken this general area, which means you do have to clean this before you can reinforce. That's an issue. You like to have clean reinforcement lines as Terran, so you don't have to micromanage every little part of the map. In this case, he is pushing up here. This is a big chunk of his army. Can Motive whittle this down and then come in for a flank? That's what we're kind of waiting to see. But it looks like Motive has decided, you know what, let's kill this 4th base. That's going to make it even harder to reinforce. And of course, there's actually a lot of minerals left here, right? There's like over 2,000 minerals left. So that's pretty significant. He's going to send his SCVs towards the top right, float his command center, maybe take that top right main. But he is so separated from these 2 armies. And by the way, this is almost a pure Dragoon army, which is kind of funny because 3/3 siege tanks, if they're spread and sieged, the Dragoons will have a very hard time unless you are over-muscling them so much, which might happen here. Looking at these supplies, 107 against 183. Now, this Nexus will get cleared. We have to do some mineral checking, okay? Motive's main gone. Natural gone. 3rd base gone. 4th base gone. 5th base getting low. 6th base. Oh, still healthy. Still healthy. We have these mineral patches that haven't been taken. We have this base that's just about empty. This base that's kind of low, but this is not somewhere you can expand as Motive. Only as Soso can you really get a base off there. So right now, Motive's actual mining is on 2 base. Okay, so he still has a good bank, and he's still mining 2 bases, but one of them is going to run out relatively quickly. So if you weather like 3 armies, you're going to be fine here as Soso, but that is a big ask, isn't it? Here we go. The speed shuttle's dropping onto this high ground, getting some beautiful storms off onto those siege tanks. And yeah, he is just plowing through here. If you lose this space, the game is 100% done. You're not mining anymore as Soso. Looks like this command center going to go down. Just too many units left over. And that looks like it's going to be game number 1, a victory for Motive. Don't forget, this is a best of 5. We've dropped down to best of 5 for the 3rd place match, not a best of 7. So a little bit more pressure on Soso now, but a very excellent game. Look at this. We're hitting almost 30 minutes. And again, you know, a few siege tanks coming in. Yeah, stasis goes down. Like, he has enough tanks maybe to kill those, but the 2 Archons in the main base might be able to kill the command center. And even if you don't, like, even if these tanks clear these, get on high ground, Motive's bank is big enough. You can see he's, like, remaxing, and he's still going to have a little bit of money left over. 7 SCVs remain. Yeah, honestly, we should just see GG any second here. It's just not, it's not realistic to play this out and really have much of a chance. It looks like he's going to kill this last, well, I mean, this is still mining some. Realistically, there's not enough, and he's even long distance mining the middle now. So I think Soso will just look at this position and say, okay, well, I lose game number 1, on to game number 2. And yeah, again, a very good game there between these 2. Very highly contested. Felt like it could have gone either way, but yeah, maybe a little bit too brave of Soso to try to take over top right. GG.